Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be talking about weapon advancement in World War I and the effects of them. So just to give a quick outline, what I'm going to be going over is how the guns improved from Civil War to World War I, what kinds of guns were mostly used, and what were the most dangerous. Then after that, I will go into why this revolutionized warfare and how it made warfare way more deadly than it already was. Before I get into what I'm going to be talking today, I just want to so you guys can enjoy some nice Destiny gameplay with me using a World War I style sniper and a pistol. So now, let me get into what we're going to be talking today. We're going to be talking about the weapons that were used during World War I and how they improved over time. So first we're going to be talking about rifles. Rifles started being muskets, which were mostly known for the Revolutionary War and the Civil War. They had no range, no accuracy, you had to be point blank basically. The old saying was you had to see the whites of the enemy's eyes in order to fire. Then you have to take a long reloading process and it would take forever. So fast forward to World War I, these rifles became a lot more accurate, faster rate of fire, more range, overall more powerful. They had 50 years to completely redesign them, and they made them so much better. Since they completely redesigned these rifles, they could make them into sniper rifles, which is what you're going to be seeing, and they made them into auto rifles. So the next weapon I'm going to be talking about was actually first introduced in the Civil War as a Gatling gun. However, it wasn't very used much due to it being very hard to control. It would always jam, and it would constantly overheat. So, when the machine gun was then introduced in World War I, it was made 100 times better, as was the rifle. Machine guns could shoot up to 450 to 600 rounds per minute, and would completely spray down an incoming army. Although it had so much potential to be the highest killing weapon during the Great War, these weapons would need 4 to 6 people operating it at once, and would almost constantly overheat due to the lack of cooling mechanisms. They would try to cool these guns with water, however it would only cool for 1 to 2 minutes, and the team would constantly run out of water. Some people say that the team would actually pee on it to cool it down, which is crazy. One of the most fascinating weapons, in my opinion, was the flamethrower. Although there had been rumors of ancient China using the flamethrowers and Abraham Lincoln testing the weapon for the Civil War, the earliest recorded usage of the weapon was by the Germans in World War I. Germans invented the flamethrower, and it would spray ignited fuel onto the enemy and other weapons, including tanks. It would use nitrogen to push the gas out of the tank and an igniter to light the fuel on fire. However, the person carrying the flamethrower would usually be blown to bits when the enemy would shoot it, or it would just overheat and kill him. The next kind of weapon I'm going to be talking about is artillery. Artillery is a large caliber gun used in warfare on land. These cannons were so highly powered that some people had to take into account the rotation of the earth when shooting their weapon. The French designed a cannon so powerful it was nicknamed by the Germans the Devil Gun, and the French actually used this weapon again during the Second World War due to its popularity. The other highly powered weapon during World War I was the tank. The idea of the modern tank actually goes back to the Renaissance, and the design of the tank can be found in the drawings of Leonardo da Vinci. That's how old it is. The tank was first seen in the World War as a creation of the British and had a very high-powered cannon. However, the French had also designed one with a traversable turret. Same with the machine guns. These high-powered killing machines had many flaws. they were constantly breaking down and could only move at a top speed of 3 miles an hour. However, the Germans, in retaliation to France and Britain, redesigned the tank and made it 10 times better. Their tank was faster and broke down much less. The other vehicle that dominated during World War I was actually the submarine. The only power that really utilized this was the very strong German Navy. The German U-boat could destroy enemies underwater and on land without them even knowing it was coming. After the war, there was a proposition to ban the submarine warfare along with something else. But, we'll get to that later. These next weapons I will be talking about are very, very, very deadly and very, very, very dangerous. Chemical warfare was introduced into World War I and later banned due to its inhumane outcomes. The first use of chemical weapons was in 1915 by the Germans. They used 5,000 gas cylinders of chlorine, and their plan was to use the wind to blow the chlorine across no man's land into the Allies' trenches. The guy who created the attack didn't think this would be too successful. However, he was wrong, and it killed and injured many, many people. This first use of chemical weapons started a race to create as many chemical weapons as possible and use them on the enemy. Although there is a combined total of 3,000 different chemicals created by both sides, only 50 of them were ever used on the battleground. The power in the chemical weapons wasn't actually the killing and damage it caused to the humans themselves, but it was the psychological terror they caused. And poison gas was actually only responsible for less than 1% of fatalities and less than 7% of injuries. It could have been more dangerous, but both sides quickly developed gas masks to protect them from the gas. One of the main reasons why chemical warfare was brought into the war was to speed things up. Since Germany had taken such a huge lead so quickly and lost all their momentum, this was a way to gain the momentum back and keep pushing forward. However, they were wrong, and World War I went on for another 3.5 brutal years. One final push and victory is yours. Now that we have seen most of the weapons used in World War I, we can see how warfare went from being long-range muskets and some cannons to submarines, tanks, motors, artillery, long-range rifles, flamethrowers, all of that stuff. We can see how much it's changed and how much brutal it's gotten. And with the addition with chemical weapons, we can see how they were banned after the war and how devastating the effects were on the human body. And even though there are a lot more rules and regulations since World War I, there are still a lot of devastating weapons that are capable of mass destruction. And more weapons are being created every single day that are capable of taking out many, many people, and even weapons that are capable of taking out a full city. And this is something that we have to be careful of using in today's society. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see more of this content, please leave a like below. It really helps out the channel. Also, feel free to comment about what other topics you want me to do, and check the description for the songs used in this video and links to help out my fellow colleagues.